this touching moment so controversial? And if Casper's not a ghost, then what is he? Let's look at this a bit closer. But first, balls! This video is sponsored by Manscaped.com. Manscaped is the world's famous brand of men's grooming and hygiene products with the best equipment.
Yeah, nobody cares.
That is. But once a friend, everyone is scared of him. He helps out someone, they become friends, rinse and repeat. But the question of why Casper is a ghost is never addressed. In the very first cartoon, The Friendly Ghost, after several attempts at friendship, Casper lays down in front of a train attempting to kill himself, seemingly forgetting he's already a ghost. In the second cartoon, There's Good Booze Tonight, Casper befriends a fox. Why can a fox make contact but a train can't? Let's just see if I can rule for Casper's tangibility is just whatever the plot says. Like when the fox hunter turns up to try and kill Casper. Yep, that's a hunter shooting a child. The fox is killed because ghost, but returns to Casper because ghost. So it's a kind of happily ever after. Later cartoons don't
The Mets, baby, we love the Mets.
They would give Casper ghost parents, so he couldn't be a child who is a ghost, but a ghost who is a child. How does ghost pregnancy work? I don't know. The character of Casper was owned by Harvey Comics, but not created by them. Seymour Reed and Joe Ariolo made Casper as a wartime children.
The Mets, baby, we love the Mets.
Studios. In fact, the first Casper cartoon is pretty much that story word for word. Famous Studios later sold Casper to Harvey Comics, so the theory that Casper is a dead version of Richie Rich doesn't quite work, as Harvey Comics created Richie Rich, but not Casper.
Well, Richie good. Perhaps he realized how hollow the pursuit of money is and took his own life. Kids, could you lighten up a little?
Despite Casper's origins and early cartoons, we never asked about Casper's death. The answer is
What world save is this? And yes, I am playing on the creative world. Just to surprise.
creatures like
He's
fairies, goblins, and the French.
What world? Yeah, I'm deleting this. I would play on it.
Children. It's inevitable that making the main character of your kid show a ghost will invite some heavy questions, and Harvey Comics dealt with it by not dealing with it, steering the franchise to being kept harmless, sweet, and innocent. So imagine their shock when they saw this.
Yes.
Okay, so the movie took Casper in some new directions, away from his sanitized innocence because Casper is horny. And to look back on this now, you would
Excuse me, what?
very creepy.
Yeah, what world is this?
Yeah, I'm voting creepy. The film is about Dr. Harvey and his daughter Kat moving into a mansion with Casper and his three dickhead uncles. Bastard levels of evil. It's great.
Oh, it's this world, okay.
She's deceased. Even better. And far better than the bad breath and fat jokes. Eventually there's some stuff about a treasure and a machine that brings the dead back to life. But what the film is really about is the growing relationship between Casper and Kat, played by post-Addams Family, Christina Ricci. The film begins with Casper being lonely and just trying to befriend people who are scared of him. Classic stuff. On TV, Dr. Harvey, named as a tribute to Harvey Comics, appears as a ghost therapist, which ought to be enough for Casper, but when he learns about Kat, he immediately pulls all the ghost tricks to lure them into his house. Wait a minute, this is the same house as the Backstreet Boys video. Oh yeah. And Casper falls in love with Kat without even knowing her. The idea of maturing Casper this way stems from if Casper had been alone in this house for like 50 odd years, he's probably ready for adolescence now. So Casper, the overly friendly ghost, spends much of the film hounding Kat. He dotes on her, he nags her, he's persistent, he doesn't take no for an answer. Just remember, no matter how bad things get, you will never be as big of an incel as Casper the friendly ghost. I prefer the living impaired. Look, I know this is a kid's film and not intended that way, like, obviously, but it's probably not surprising to learn that the family of Harvey Comics did not like this plotline. Russell Harvey, the son of the founder, Alfred Harvey, was furious they would change their asexual confidant you can trust to something that would kiss you in your sleep. Harvey Comics seemed like a temperamental bunch. They once tried, and massively failed, to sue Ghostbusters by claiming their logo was just like their character, Fatso. Who are you gonna call? Someone else. I love that this case was dismissed because, among other reasons, there's only so many ways to draw a ghost. Brilliant. But in 1989, the Harvey Comics brand and most of its characters, including Casper, had been sold. Hence the 90s revival of this and Richie Rich and the Harvey Family family had no real sway over what they did, so when Russell Harvey called for this film to be pulled from cinemas, Universal were like, no, but this stuff is just another byproduct of the 90s, like the trope of a hardened, independent woman who can loosen up thanks to the persistence of a man. In fact, this film is just pure 90s trash, and I don't mean trash as in garbage. I mean it's just being uncomplicated family fun. So imagine their shock when they saw this.
What's it like to die?
Casper finds his childhood sled and it triggers a memory. The moment he died.
Got late. Got dark. I got sick.
So Casper died too because of his sled?
The family did not like that, and neither did the critics. Leonard Maltin said, high-tech Hollywood product takes the vintage cartoon character and literalizes him in this story of a dead boy. Talk about family fun. Absolutely true. It's not hard to
Alright,
see
what we are gonna do today,
why fun, wacky,
without Logan, since I think he has to do schoolwork and we can only play Minecraft together on the weekends.
I'm 13 years old. Can we get back to the stuff?
This is gonna be a surprise.
Rodney Dangerfield?
You think you got it tough? I got a facelift. There was one just like it underneath.
Like, Ghostbusters don't stop to ask Slimer how he died. He was allergic to bullets. Kids' movies don't always shy away from death. The Lion King had come out the year before with Mufasa's famous death scene. But why was that scene praised and this scene criticized?
Yeah, we are building a roller coaster.
Tone with the rest of the movie. There's other moments like this, like the cats passing through each other and the moments with Cat's mother. It's like inside of this brash 90s comedy movie, there's a secret, hidden movie that's deeper and more contemplative. And you can tell because these are the parts that haven't become as badly dated as the rest of the movie, CGI quality aside. Perhaps first seeing this as a child and then again as a father makes this hit differently now, but it's so provoking. It's like for a moment we got a glimpse of not just his ghost, but of his soul. This is very different to Lion King because this is a child, bastions of innocence, describing his own death. That's dark. Just as Harvey Comics were desperately avoiding, this scene is tackling the uncomfortable questions head on, and they did not like that.
I guess you just can't please all of the people all the time.
To the Harvey family, this corrupted Casper's innocence, which this film doesn't do in other ways, but I think this scene grants Casper more innocence than ever before.
I remember. I didn't go where I was supposed to go. I just stayed behind. So my dad would be home.
To give up his afterlife to stay with his father is heart-wrenching, as is the tragedy that befell his father. This scene is jarring and uncomfortable, but so is death. It's never convenient. It sticks out awkwardly, like making a video about a dead child with a sponsor for shaving your balls. Whoops. There's better ways.
Whoops.
You're indeed in this movie, but being here at all is a bold choice, and I like it. Speaking openly about mortality and grief is probably not a subject that parents expected to deal with when they bought tickets to this movie, even though it's a movie about a ghost. By having the child characters speak about death, they're not treating it as this invisible boogeyman who shall not be mentioned as Harvey Comics would want. As much as we would want to shelter and protect kids from any kind of harm, most if not all will still unfortunately experience grief as something.
Alright, let me test it out. Come on, baby, the Mets! The Mets, baby, let's go, the Mets!
1996 saw the spectacular new adventures of Casper, a direct follow-up to the original movie, made by Amblin Television, team behind Animaniacs and
The Mets, baby, come on, the Mets!
These have a lot of gags about graves and death, but it's very light-hearted, so they don't dwell on the backstory so much. 2 years after Casper, A Spirited Beginning was made straight to video in 97. It's a prequel that totally retcons the 95 movie by showing it being a ghost for the first time in a modern-day setting. And ever since, Casper has gone back to never addressing his death ever again. And that animated shows today can tackle complex issues and still be appropriate for kids. And something like Casper can fit in perfectly, showing a character defying the norms to be his true self whilst also tackling stories about life and death can be really interesting and helpful for kids to articulate their feelings. But they're content to hide their heads in the sand and have Casper go back to being some overly sanitized, wishy-washy, magical character. A ghost, not his former self. But there's hope for the Haunter. In the 2000s, 2000s, Casper was sold again, this time to Classic Media, aka DreamWorks. And the Harvey Comics characters have seen some fresh, sorely needed reboots. 2018's Netflix exclusive, Harvey Girls Forever, includes Harvey comic characters Little Dot, Little Aubrey, and Little Lotta, just without their little remixes, alongside Richie Rich. And for one episode, Casper's back, and they gave him a personality again.
That's it! That's how I can scare them all! Maybe. I think this could really go either way, actually. I don't know, but well, I'm excited!
Perhaps by reintroducing him this way, this is an early sign of breathing some new life to the dead guy. So is Casper dead or not? I think trying to convince everyone that ghosts are just magical creatures who are always made that way and never an alive person is naive. It might work for something like the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Yet to Come, since they're more of an abstract concept. And in Ghostbusters, many of the less humanoid ghosts are more cartoonish, and clearly don't represent being a living person, either anymore or ever. But Casper clearly has more humanity, it's part of his gimmick after all. So to make him anything less than a full-fledged ghost feels cowardly, like they're the real ones who are scared of ghosts. I have mixed opinions on the 1995 movie. I loved it in the 90s for the brash comedy, but I love it in the 2020s for its hidden depths. It's still trashy, but the bittersweet tale of a lonely child.
Oh, yep, that works.
It's a lot with me. And I think giving this movie an emotional root like this helps Casper ascend from being just another ghost story. I did it! Making this video was my unfinished business. I can finally go to heaven! Yay! I love fire! Special shout out to this month's key patrons. Ashley Kinder, I'm the Real Slayer, Main Street Investment Group Limited, Rusty Robot, Beanie Bex, Leif Andromeda, Mo Alcasemi, Catherine Green, Setsuni Waves, Sloan Schoolcraft, Nathan Chawinati, Tom, Brett Halford, Clan Wansley, Aaron is Chubby.
Oh, wrong reel.
With Windows 11, I'm not hunting for shows. I can actually search in the store for any actor, genre, or title. My family and I love a Disney Plus marathon. We'll sit down, we will go until our eyes are all shut.
Stream 85 plus channels and save up to $500 a year. YouTube TV. Try it free.
Chief of art and fans, and it needs to represent that game well. But just because a movie sticks religiously to the source material doesn't automatically make it good, nor does it make the ones that stray away worse. I mean, 99's Wing Commander was literally directed by the game's own creator, and it still sucked. You got balls. You should see them. So, I'm reviewing these, but 99's Wing Commander was literally directed by the game's own creator, and it still sucked. You got balls. You should see them. So, I'm reviewing these 30 years worth of movies based on their own merits to analyse where did they go wrong, and where did they go right. But I can't do this on an empty stomach. Don't you wish you could go back to your childhood and do nothing but eat cereal, play video games, and watch cartoons all day? Well, you can't. Time moves forward, it will never stop. You know enough sense of time. But you can get that nostalgic feeling thanks to this video's sponsor, Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon isn't just any old cereal, so throw away that box of dry Twix. Okay. Magic Spoon has flavours like cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, and cinnamon, blueberry, and more. So these have a range of great flavours like your childhood favourites, but these are much healthier. They have 0 grams of sugar, 14 grams of protein, only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving, also only 140 calories. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low carb. It can even help you with your homework. And then you carry the two. Oh, okay. So, click the link in the description and grab yourself a nutritious, delicious variety pack and try it out for yourself. And if you're not happy with it for any reason, you'll get a refund. If you use the promo code HEADACHE or the link magicspoon.com/headache, you'll get $5 off any order. And they ship to Canada and the UK as well. So thank you, Magic Spoon, for sending me enough cereal to build a small fort. So be sure to check them out. And now, a history lesson. In the beginning, we had computers that played chess, thanks in part to Alan Turing, a technological genius who helped crack the Nazi secret code in World War II. Al was rewarded by being arrested for being gay, chemically castrated, and later committed suicide. Woo, we're off to an awkward start. Then, Willie Higginbotham, pause for laughter, used an oscilloscope, pause for laughter, and it wasn't chess this time, it was tennis. But then it broke. Well, what if you wanted to play video games outside of a lab, in an arcade, like a pinball machine, but with a periscope? Pause for laughter. Hold up! Space games. It led to the creation of Unix, which is what ran Jurassic Park. See? A little imagination goes a long way. So, people imagined having video games in vision. This is video games about movies. Things are going great. Things are not going great. Home consoles are too big, too expensive, and too many. The games are so bad they got banished to a landfill in New Mexico, and no one's buying video games anymore. That's it. Game over. But never mind that, it's the Famicom, or the Nintendo Entertainment System, depending where you are. And with the help of a robot with a gun, Nintendo saves the day. Super Mario Brothers, The Legend of Zelda, they've even got a tennis game! So thanks to Nintendo's peripherals, it managed to save the video game industry by positioning themselves not just as a console, but as a toy. However, this gave video games a stigma that lasts to this day. Now, we all know this isn't true, but this was the commonly held opinion in the late 80s and early 90s, since that's how they were marketed.
If you're a real good player, meaning you've got the skill of a 9 or 10-year-old, you can try to jump your car.
And so the movies reflected this with the first ever video game movie, Super Mario Brothers. But not that one. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach was released in 1986, a full 7 years before the live-action one. This is a charming, kid-friendly animated movie, and it fits perfectly into Japan's culture of fantasy anime tales. In fact, when this movie came out, only the first Super Mario Brothers existed, with Lost Levels coming out that year. It had little source material to draw upon, but it still had elements that would become Mario lore even today, like Bowser trying to marry Princess Peach. It's interesting to see how well Nintendo viewed their characters even then. After Bowser is defeated, the film ends with this dog character turning into a prince. He's a furry. This is Peach's fiance, and initially Mario is jealous of this, but he quickly respects her wishes. This is quite a surprising twist, but it neatly demonstrates Mario's heroic qualities. He is selfless, whilst Bowser is selfish. Although, saying this, Prince Haru doesn't appear in any Mario media ever again. I wonder what happened to him. However, in the West, a 1993 Mario movie took on a different form. This was, to say the least, an attempt.
Monkey.
An attempt to set Mario in a quote-unquote real world by making it dark and gritty. So, a pessimistic view of the world, really. It's not so bad outside, is it? Okay, don't answer that. Influenced by Batman, Ghostbusters, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, this became a cyberpunk dystopia. But, you know, save the kids.
Last name? Mario. Luigi. Luigi. No, Luigi Mario.
Mario and Luigi Mario set out to rescue Princess Daisy. Peach must have been busy getting busy in this dinosaur dimension, which is made to be an incredibly 90s parody of New York. It's dirty and grimy, and the people are rude, crude, and full of attitude, so not at all like the games. The Mario games were up to Super Mario World at this point, hence the dinosaur people who aren't really dinosaurs except for that one dinosaur. However, they were still generally pretty lax when it came to story. So this movie had the opportunity to reinterpret the games any way they wanted to. Their idea was to make this the real Mario, and the game was the misinterpreted version, which is a bold strategy, and not one that paid off.
Ouch down, population do grow.
What didn't help was the very troubled production, such as last-minute script changes and constant on-set fallouts, but despite that, a film got made. The final result is pretty fun.
Aliens? Well, we gotta do aliens too? Luigi, we're the aliens.
But probably not in the way they intended. It's ludicrous and campy, and not at all the real-world grounded version they were aiming for. To look back on it now with a hint of irony, it's a perfectly fine, kid-friendly cyberpunk adventure, and I will never tire of Bob Hoskins' bead cropping.
Hey, you wanna pick a direction? Any direction you like. Hey, that looks good over there. That's it, let's die there.
But the Mario references feel so tacked on, like lip service.
Be proud. Go Goomba.
This is a similar situation to the 1994 Street Fighter movie. This would follow Guile's military war against M. Bison, but would sprinkle in other characters, like this reporter is Chun-Li and her crew is, I don't know, E. Honda and Balrog. Isn't Balrog a villain in the game? Who cares? Characters are just name-dropped, bearing little resemblance to their counterparts. This isn't automatically a bad thing, but it will only mean something if you're a fan. And if you are a fan, then you know it's wrong.
Zero Bison. He's a bad guy. You know this,